Hello, hello to my True Blue crew. Let me just adjust that a little bit. And hello, hello. We're doing some Sunday stitching to get caught up because my October calendar is crazy and my Wednesday night live may or may not happen each week, depending on what is going on. So I thought I'd hop on for a little bit of live sewing. We are working on the Puzzle Mystery Quilt from Cotton Cuts. This is the Flyway pattern, which kicked off in the spring. So we are almost done. This is Clue 9. And I am working on the Odyssey colorway. You can see these gorgeous neutrals there. A little bit out of my usual color scheme, but I am having so much fun with this, and it would help if I had the pattern. So hang on just a second. I did bring it, stretch. I did bring it up to my sewing room, but I left it on the other side of the table. So your clues each month. Hello, Diane. She's checking in from Kentucky. So glad to see you. William, nice to see you as a chatter on my channel. Usually it's the other way around. I'm watching William at my so-called life and all his tweed glory. But I've got these gorgeous neutrals, and surprise, we're doing square in a square units, and Tasha has checked in. Good to see you, my friend. I am loving the festive thread collaboration that a lot of my YouTube quilter friends are participating in. There's a new project each day. So we just saw Jess from So Blessed by Jess. So I'll give her a shout out, and the whole crew that is doing the festive thread holiday projects. And Karen is checking in. Hi from Idaho, Miss So-and-so. Yeah, William, these square in a square units are fun and, you know, not too much of a mental strain. We do have to pay attention a little bit to get the colors in the right place, but we have been doing loads. It's like this whole quilt is square in a square unit. So it's been kind of funny that we, you know, are doing so many of the same unit. But Cotton Cuts pre-cuts all your fabric when you buy their kits. So that is wonderful. You can get right to the sewing. You need to keep your little instruction booklet handy because it has all the fabrics labeled on the back, and I need to double check and make sure I am sewing the correct items in the correct numbers according to the clue that they send you each month. So I need my backgrounds and my little dots to make some half square triangles. Okay, so we've got those. And then we need... Jess, right before you jumped on, I was commenting how much I love the Festive Threads projects. You guys are doing a great job. I'm going to set my fabric off camera there. Okay, so we just have, I have my workspace camera over here. It's lagging a little bit from what I'm doing in real life, but we'll adapt and overcome for that. Oh, I'm counting my numbers here, and I'm like, why are they wanting us to make 8 of these half square triangles when it only takes 4 to make a pinwheel? That's because I'm doing 2 blocks. So, you know, read over your instructions so at least you know what the plan is, and then And I've got a new quilt on the long arm, and I was piecing on my temperature quilt. I've got so many things. Just rolling right along. It feels very nice to be productive. You know, you go through these seasons in life. I think here in the desert, we just get so hot in the summer that it's like we can't do anything but just lay around in the shade. And luckily, that season has passed and we're back to being productive. And there are tons of sports going on. So tell me what flavor of ball you like to watch. Are you tuned into baseball? Are you tuned into football? Are you basketball fan, hockey? I was watching the WNBA because my very own Phoenix Mercury are in the finals. They got shellacked. It was very sad. There's a home game, two home games next week, and I thought about going, and then I was like, you know what? I'd rather spend that money on fabric and sewing stuff. So I can just watch here at home. I don't have the extended cable to get the ESPN and all the sports channels, but since I'm such a fair weather fan, it doesn't really bother me. I can just pay. The last few years, I've been a huge fan of Sling during March Madness, and I'll buy a month-long pass, and that gets me access to all the games, and then I don't care because I don't watch those channels any other time of the year. And they have brilliant packaging now. Their sales team got together. They're offering one-day passes. So like you don't have to pay for the whole month just to watch the one weekend that your team is in the playoffs. You can buy it just on those days. Like, and today's game was on regular ABC channel, which I get. So I was able to pay the very cheap rate for the game on Friday night, watch it on regular TV today. I'll pay a little bit more next week for the games that are on channels I don't get. And yeah, it'll be good. I was very, very tempted to go downtown. I love the playoff atmosphere. Phoenix actually has one of the best fan bases in all of WNBA. We pack the stadium all the time. And it just, and whenever your team is in the playoffs, it's, it just creates that much more excitement. But I couldn't justify the cost. And my husband didn't want to go with me. If he was a little more on board and I had a buddy to go to the game with, that would be a different story. Yeah, Tasha has enough fun watching the kids play soccer. Yeah, my daughter's out of the competitive sports phase, so I'm back to being the fan. And my sewing machine is eating these triangles, and I'm not being very careful when I start sewing. I'm too busy telling stories. So let me see if I can. Let's see that. Those two were pretty good. That one was okay. And it doesn't even look that bad on camera, but this little edge got really mangled. So I need to be careful when I start out to guide that fabric underneath my needle. And I've got my single stitch in there. So, okay, let's press these triangles to the dark fabric. I love it when my dark fabric matches the plan of the pattern. Yeah, William, I had season tickets in the early days of the WNBA when Phoenix was really good. And then, of course, Diana Taurasi, um, those years. I've been surprised because she was the superstar of the league for so long, and she retired last year. And honestly, I expected to see her doing some commentary this year in the finals, especially with Phoenix doing so well, but haven't heard from her. So I don't know. Oh, Jess has not gotten her cotton cuts clues. Yeah, I was watching Kim, the owner, does a live stream most Thursday mornings. I was watching the replay of it, and she said that um, Oasis, I guess, is the colorway for the Under the Sea, um, the newest design had some shipping issues, and it's one of those things with these, the tariff stuff and supply chain and shipping delays and blah, blah, blah. She said things get held up in port because they don't have enough workers to unload the ships and then get it on the trucks to get it to her to ship out. So, ugh. And I have the whole kit because I am an ambassador. So they send me the whole package as if I had paid for the whole thing at once. So I do have all the fabric. I did the Floral States of America about a year and a half ago, and that was a month by month. And yeah, it was, it's always fun to get happy mail, but some days with those shipping delays, it was a bummer. Okay, and I am just double checking that I have my pinwheel spinning in the correct direction. So we will put these all out like that. And it was really fun on watching the Cotton Cuts live stream because Annette got a shout out. And we see her as Fabric Magician Annette. So, Lori, no worries. I'm glad you're here. Doesn't matter if you saw the very beginning. We're just having fun on a Sunday afternoon. Hope all is going well for you. So then I will have to decide when I am done here with clue 9 if I want to try and lay everything out and guess. Are you a guesser, or are you a just take it as it comes type of mystery quilter, for those of you that do mystery quilts? that way and get these pinwheels going. So we have a little appetizer here that is a pinwheel before we start our square in a square. Tasha says she's going to be brave and try to guess. I might lay out a few of them and try. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a big enough design wall, so I'm not good at guessing. I hate the Easter egg hunt where you have to go find, search and find them. No. I mean, I'm a competitive person, so I'll play the game, but anytime I need a design wall, I go down to my mom's house. She lives about 20 minutes away, and she's got a nice, big, like, queen size space on her one wall of her sewing room that's all covered in felt and very nice. It's like a checkerboard print on her design wall, but it's not like accurate lines. And they're all kind of wavy. So you have to kind of work at not paying attention to the lines, or else I'm sure it would drive someone batty if they had, OCD or something. And how do you cheat, Jess? Do you have a special link to the designer? And okay. So there is our pinwheel. And they don't really care which way the pinwheel gets pressed because they just wanted it in one direction, not with spinning seams. So I did that. And there is our dotty pinwheel. And now for the square in a square. Okay, so I've got my center fabric, and then I need B and C on opposite sides. So we'll put 4 B's down there. B was the dark. And those go across the way. Okay. So we crease and crease it again on the other side. I'm going to run out of pins, it looks like. And then this one, I crease with wrong sides together. This is the Tasha trick. Tasha taught me how to do this. And then it nests right down in our other crease. And then I go ahead and stick a pin right through there, and then I can do the same thing with my other triangle for the other side. Okay. Okay, Tasha, you have a good week. She is off to put little ones to bed. Thanks for stopping by. And Lori is working on the Moda blockheads. She needs some help from Jess. I have not done any of the Moda blockheads blocks. I think I have enough other projects on the go for the moment. And I'm starting to think about 2026. I've got a holiday quilt for my little bit different blocks that I need to showcase. I haven't, the sample is made. I've got notes on all the blocks. I just haven't written up the instructions. So that was a failed launch as a pattern designer. Missed the, I suppose I could hurry up and put it out there, but I'm kind of thinking I could just save it for next year. And give it the proper attention it deserves. But I did kick off Inktober is it's not really a sew along because I haven't chosen any fabric, but we're just designing. We're playing with different color palettes on Quilt Ink is a fabulous website for quilt design. Oh, Jess is saying she needs to get her sewing room straightened up because she is overwhelmed. I understand that too, Jess. I need to have a cleanup party as well because I've got little piles from when I was cutting and I haven't put the extra away yet. And it will feel so much better when I've, got more than just the path from the door to my sewing machine. Luckily, my sewing room's in the back corner of the house and no one else comes in here, so. Oh, and you guys will want to set a reminder for Tuesday. I should have said this while Tasha was still here. She's going to be a guest on my podcast. So you'll want to tune in to Quilting on the Side. We release new episodes on Tuesdays. And Tasha from Tasha Quilts is our guest this week. You can hear all about her story and what she's doing to start up a quilt business. And there's so many social media posts about Quilt Market because that big event is happening in Houston this weekend. So all the industry folks are there this weekend. And then next week, the show opens to the public and it's a regular quilt show with classes and everything. So Katie is here. Oh, Katie, hopefully you're feeling all right. I've been watching all the updates and Nikolai was so kind to let us know what was going on. And yeah, you've been doing as best you can with all of that. I hope they got the pain under control. And reading back a few comments, Lori is going to join the next Cotton Cuts, and that will be exciting. I'm just turning around, doing the second side of my side number 204 on these square and a square units. And so I was mentioning I watched the Cotton Cuts live show this week, and they have some holiday boxes that are going to go on sale next week. And they sound really interesting. So you've got fabric choices that you can sign up for, and you can do either a 24-day like countdown to Christmas, or you could do a full 31 days and count down to New Year's. And that's always tempting. I love having little packages to open every day, but I don't need any more fabric. So pretty easy to talk myself out of that one. So there was that. And she said that it was going to be a fat quarter each day. Oh, that's right. So the fabric one, you could choose batiks or regular cotton prints. And that was a fat quarter every day for the 24 or the 31. Hi, Janine. Thanks so much for stopping by. And then they have a notions box. And they're just, you know, little fun to have items, useful things, not. And that one was really intriguing because of the way that Kim pitched it. She said that you could buy these and you don't need to use them as a countdown to the holidays. You could use them throughout the year as special prizes, like when you finish a UFO. And that really resonated with me. I was like, that is perfect. If I finish one of the quilts, you know, that I've had sitting on the shelf, get it all quilted and bound, then I would have this little stash of gifts to myself to open. So that might be fun for the Notion kit. Yeah, that would be. Okay. We'll catch up with you later, Jess. Hope you have a successful cleaning spree. So that was the Notions kit. And then they're doing like the little stitchets, the pre-cut triangles and squares as a row by row quilt. And that sounded fun too. So, oh my gosh. But like I said, I have plenty of fabric. I have plenty of projects. I don't need anything else. So I will be a good little girl and just continue with what I have. Because so my 2020, I'm already planning my 2026 quilts. I've got, you know, I've got these two mysteries from Cotton Cuts to finish up because I'm doing both Flyway and Under the Sea as an ambassador. And then I've got a Judy Niemeyer kit from a friend of mine that I want to start. She was overflowing, and so she just started giving away some of her kits. So I've got that, and that's a pretty intensive paper piecing kit. And then I've got a Storm at Sea quilt idea that I want to do soon. I've had it in, you know, sketched out for a couple years, and I just haven't sat down to do it. So maybe next year will be the time to do that. So that's big quilt number 2. And then I've got the Starry Night, So Kind of Wonderful to practice with curves. And I really like to do that. But darn it, just left a little bit before I got my ideas out. I need to talk to her to see if she wants to do a sew along with that Starry Night curved piecing quilt. Janine, yes, Storm at Sea is fun. And I've got the AccuQuilt block on board, so you can cut all the Storm at Sea pieces that much faster. So that's going to be fun. Okay, so now I need to figure out where I'm putting these other two colors in my, okay, so my dots touch my dots on that left-hand side, and then D is my little dots, and they go over on that side. Okay, so helps to have space to lay things out, and then we're going to do the crease thing again. And I have to get my fabric back oriented the way it was. Like pinning all this stuff takes forever. So with the Cotton Cut Stitch It boxes, those are their little collections of their squares and triangles. And they said they were going to send along patterns. I don't know if I'd be disciplined enough to follow their pattern or if I would just make up my own pattern with half square triangles. Okay, Janine, either ask around for your buddies in that have AccuQuilt and see if you can find the Storm at Sea block on board. You have several months. I would not start this before January at the very earliest. And or ask, put it on your holiday wish list. But if you have some of the other dies, you may be able to get the components. Like if you have any of the cubes, I think some of the pieces in the cube will have the Storm at Sea units. You could figure it out. I need to do some research and share that, obviously, when I share the instructions for my version. I will include all of those little tips and tricks. So my Storm at Sea story, the first time I made a Storm at Sea pattern, I wanted it to, be classic in, blues and grays. I signed up for a class from John Flynn, who back in the 2000s was a big name in quilting. And he was teaching at a summer camp that I went to, teaching Storm at Sea. Well, he was also one of the first fabric companies that pre-cut fabric with lasers. And so he offered all the students in his class a pre-cut kit to make the Storm at Sea block. And I did not take advantage of that. And I also did not pre-cut my fabric. So I spent most of my class time cutting all the stupid little pieces. So my lesson learned from that is that if a teacher offers you pre-cut kits, take advantage of it. You can always do a second version with your own colors and fabrics after the class, but you definitely want to take advantage of the pre-cut kit so that you can spend your time sewing and not cutting in class. And I learned that same lesson over again last year because I took a class and the instructor didn't really, she was just like demoing the complicated parts. She wasn't giving us step-by-step instructions. And now, and so I didn't cut ahead or anything from her pattern. I'm looking around because I need one more pin. Do I have a big? And so since I had not done any of the cutting or sewing, because she was really kind of loosey-goosey about it. She was like, yeah, you don't need to sew ahead, just show up and I'll talk you through it. I didn't have enough pieces, so I'm trying to take notes and now I can't figure out the patterns. So I mean, I can figure out the pattern, obviously. I'm a smart, capable woman and I can do hard things. I just have to, really concentrate and decipher my notes. Because I really like the colors I put together so far for that project. And I'm doing a talk at my guild in March. So if I get that project figured out before then, it will be a good sample. Okay, less talking, more sewing, Andy. Because I'm going to need to go downstairs and finish up the dinner preparations here in a bit. Get these puppies sewn together. I have some little scraps that I'm using for leader enders to make little scrappy hourglass blocks. Okay, now I'm going to have, whoops, one more. Darn it. I sewed my leader ender too soon. I wasn't at the end. Okay. There is our square and a square unit. And we have to, so our dots line up. So we're gonna match it up to our pinwheel. Yep. Yep, yep. Trying to see where I want my seam to match right in the X of my square and a square. And I feel like I've given this hint over and over again because we've done so many of these units. So my pin is right through the X of my stitches and it's laying right along my seam line on the other side. And I have to do 4 of these the same way. Come on. I hit my thumb on the post of my presser, of my needle, trying to get my fabric started without bunching up. Ow. Hurt. Hi, Sherry. Nice to see you coming on in. I think that one started up nicely. So I've got one going that way. Okay. There we go. That is clue 9 for the Flyway Mystery. That is really interesting with that dark kind of diagonal across that. You see what I'm saying with that? The pinwheel starts to make a stripe across the block. So yeah, I really think these are going to be star points of things. You know, we've just got so many different configurations that this is going to be really interesting. So this was clue 9 of 10. That means that you need to set your calendar for November 7th for a reminder, there is a live reveal of the full quilt because Clue 10 puts it all together. So I hope everybody has a lot of fun, and the mystery is coming to an end. I can't wait to see the big reveal in November. So thanks for hanging with me as we get some stitching done on a Sunday, and you have a fantastic week. I'll see you next time. Bye.